Hello everyone, Will Garner here, and welcome to pillar number 1 of module 1. And this chapter is titled, Instead of Sifting Through the Sand, Let's Turn It Into Picking Up Jewels. So just imagine that, sifting in the sand to find, great treasure, and we want to consolidate that. So the first thing is we're going to look at module 1 as far as what are we targeting exactly. I believe in working backwards, meaning knowing what the exit strategy is at the beginning. So you have to decide up front, am I going into this deal with the mindset of flipping this property or renting the property for passive income? Since this course is about flipping, then we have to assume that you're looking to flip, obviously. So let's first narrow that down as far as what we're targeting, which will help us in letting us know where we want to be in terms of the area. This is going to benefit us greatly because now we can focus our time, energy, and money into what we would like to profile as our overall area. All right, so the first thing is let's identify our filters. We're going to lay out a few filters here. The proximity of the neighborhood to your work and home. You'll never know when you're going to find your next gem, but if you can help it, wouldn't you want your next deal to be in the area where you drive through every day, where you go to get your groceries, you go to the gym, where you live, right? Absolutely, it makes sense. As a general contractor, I never know when I'm going to have to run to the property I'm working on and take care of something, or if I need to drop off some material that I may have left off or just been forgotten by one of my vendors. That's construction and remodeling, and you have to be ready for anything. So with that said, I'm not necessarily saying you have to isolate yourself to your side of town, because you can find good deals anywhere. But being in an area where you have quick access to your resources is not a bad thing at all. All right, let's look at the next thing. Selling prices of the homes in the area. So this is probably one of the most important filters to me when it comes to selling homes. What is the prices of the homes going for where you're trying to do your deal? It's tricky at the same time because you could be targeting an area where home prices are exorbitant, and at the same time, what you have to put into the home to command market value, or you could even call it retail value for the property, may blow your budget if the numbers aren't right on what you're picking the property up for. Or on the other hand, you could find jewels in areas that the properties may be selling for a lower market price, but they're consistently moving in that area, meaning that they're consistently selling. And you want to really take a good look at that. All right. The third thing is the sales activity of the homes in the neighborhood. Like what's moving, what's shaking. Seriously. This is equally as important as what the houses are selling for, because you need to get a good mental hold of what the days on the market for of your deals. And this is where, locking arms with a good realtor comes in. Let's be honest with each other. And like I mentioned once before, everyone can have success in real estate investing, but it's not for everyone if you don't do your homework. Look at the days on the market. Some homes are going to sit longer in some parts of town, and they literally could be houses that are a couple streets away. And you've got areas where houses could move like hotcakes. The crazy thing is that these trends can change with the landscape of the economic outlook for that area very easily. The key is to try to stay ahead of the game and become a market expert in your area. So that's why it's so important to connect with great people as realtors who are experts in their area, as I mentioned earlier. So let me show you how just a few of these factors played into a big part in one of the very first remodel and flip jobs I did right here in the suburban area of Houston when I first started flipping homes about 20 years ago, maybe, in the Galena Park area. All right, so the Galena Park area was a neighborhood that catered to middle income Hispanic market. That's just the way the demographic makeup was of the area. But houses were very desirable in the area. It was a kind of close proximity to where I lived in the North Shore area of town. And I recognized that the average amount of time that the houses were staying on the market was around 45 days. I was able to find a great deal on a house that needed some work for about $40,000. And we did our punch list and everything. We needed to put about $20,000 in construction costs. And ultimately, we ended up turning around and selling that for $85,000. So after lender fees and everything else, I walked away with about $18,500 after 37 days. All right, next thing is explore networking. Networking is so key, and just really understanding where to network at. So let's look at stuff like your permitting office, the local B&I chapter. If you don't know about B&I, look up B&I online. You also can look at your local Chamber of Commerce. It's good. The Chamber of Commerce is a great place to network because you're going to have people in the chamber who they come from different business arenas, and they can help identify what's going on in that area. We're also going to want to connect with a good commercial realtor, someone who understands the commercial aspect of what's going on in your area, as well as just how the industry is ebbing and flowing. Also, let's start looking at the MLS as well, which is called the Multiple Listing Service. The Multiple Listing Service is a membership database service developed and exclusively for licensed real estate brokers and their agents. The MLS is a great place to find good deals, and more so importantly than that, it's a great place for you to be able to take time to analyze deals, how long they're staying on the market, and look at the whole area in general, stuff that we just covered in the first part. All right, at this point, we want to take time to put our dream team together. And this is where working towards putting your dream team together comes into play. So in the Olympics back in the early 90s, the United States put together a team which ultimately ended up going on to win the gold medal. But it consisted of some of the greatest basketball players of all times. People such as Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and many great basketball players, Hall of Famers. And they took the world by storm during the Olympics. And like I said, they went on to be undefeated and win the gold medal. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to become undefeated and put together a great, great dream team. People such as a great title company to work with, somebody who understands the title work. Your dream team needs to be together and focused on finding the right solutions for you. A great insurance broker, a great mortgage person, and really taking your company to the next level. Finding a good attorney to partner with when issues may come up. Downloading the Flip app. Getting a great realtor to work with. This is what's important about the area that you're going to embark upon and putting together in real estate investing, putting your dream team together. All right, so the next thing, let's get into cross comparison. This is a very important area in terms of comparing what you're looking for in your home. All right, first thing is the square foot of the homes being sold in the area. If you're trying to compare a 4,000 square foot home that's out of scope on the price per square foot of that area, then you're killing yourself slowly and you don't even know it. So let's take a look at this example real quick. I'm gonna do a whiteboard example to show you what I mean about how to come up with your price per square foot. Okay, we're going to calculate the price per square foot and how to arrive at that. It's a pretty simple calculation to make, but it's something that we want to go ahead and cover. So let's go ahead and knock it out real quick. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide the sale price of the property by the square footage of the total property. And as you see, we have a typo in here of the total property. So if your sales price at the end of the day, let's say it's $500,000 and the house is 5,000 square foot, that's going to give you $100 per square foot. And this works in both ways, even for the value of the property prior to selling it. So for instance, if we're saying this is the after repair value $500,000, we see that the house at the end of the day in that neighborhood are selling for $100 a square foot. Well, let's say the same square footage that you're looking at is selling at $300,000. Over, well, let's say the house, instead of it being 5,000 square feet, let's say it's 4,500 square feet. You know, what you're going to end up arriving at is a lower price per square foot. Now you're going to be at $66.67 per square foot. So as you're going through and you're running comps and you see something like this, and you're like, oh, okay, this is a lower price than what I see everything else selling for, then it's another indication for you to be able to use. Your property taxes is important because some areas, depending on where the taxing authorities begin and end, are going to have different tax rates. So you want to identify what your tax rates for wherever the property is going to be at, because that's going to make a difference in what your payoffs are and your monthly notes. The year built of the home being sold. Definitely pay attention to this. This is important because some of your older homes are going to vary in price difference of the newer homes and give you a different, sales price, which is our next thing is for right here, which is important. What are the sales prices going on in the area? The days on the market. We covered that earlier. It's important to know how long these houses are staying on the market, and because that takes a big chunk of your cash if your house sits on the market longer than what it should sit on the market. The next thing is the features of the homes being sold. You should look at this overall. What is trending in style and design? You can't go wrong by watching some HGTV and picking up some style tricks. Also, you could give my good friend Tia Gibson, owner and celebrity interior designer of Declare Designs, a call. I'll include her information in the resources. The cool thing about Tia is that she'll even do a web-based interior design consultation with clients. So if you need interior design help, feel free to give her a call. Next thing, neighborhood and schools. How do they rank? This is so important because people want their kids to go to the best schools. So if you're flipping homes and you're looking for areas to buy, look at the schools. How do they rank? What's the graduation rates? Is the school exemplary? It is that area desirable because of the schools. So important. Schools can definitely help you move your products faster than you know. The moral of this chapter is that you just don't want to buy a flip deal and do a hell of a job fixing it up, and it sits for longer than your monthly debt service anticipated, because time is money, literally in real estate. Every day that you're holding on to that, especially if you're using hard money financing, you're accruing interest on that loan, which ultimately cuts into your profit. Next thing, ages of the homes in the neighborhood. The age of the home you're trying to flip is important because if you try to focus on deals that are too new, then more than likely you won't have any margin in it. Yet on the flip side, targeting homes that are too old may produce a rehab nightmare. But at the same time, you never know. You really want to do your homework. Personally, if I'm looking at a flip, then I'm looking at a 20-year sliding scale. I want homes that have potentially the equity in the property and yet are still somewhat up to date on modern construction code and energy efficiency. Yet at the same time, I may find deals where a house needs to be bulldozed down. I can ultimately sell it for lot value, or, let's look at, there's a situation of a deal that I'm actually looking at right now. There's a mobile home on the property, but the property itself has about I'd say the value of it is about $60,000. It was left to the owner's grandkids, and they're in a situation where they're looking to just move the property and sell it for itself. Now, I'm looking at this as a 2-for-1 deal. So not only am I getting the land at, let's say, $40,000, I know the land is about $60,000, but on top of this, they don't want it to have anything to do with the mobile home. They just want to get rid of it. So my thinking is this: we pick up the land, which we're going to do. The mobile home, we can take that mobile home, move it to a cheaper lot and rent it for rental income, or we can just turn around and sell it. And at the same time, still have the land for land value. So if we want to build a duplex or another house on it, we can do that and still have rental income over here with the mobile home. The appeal and charm of the neighborhood. Location, location, location. I probably should have made this one of my first topics to discuss, but nevertheless, it is definitely in pillar number 1. Some neighborhoods just have that charm that will command a greater return than others, especially if they're close to great retail and recreational opportunities. Put yourself in the shoes of a new home buyer. That's truly something I do, and a great segue to my last point of safety before we close out this module. People want to buy in places that they once raised their families, and they feel a sense of security. Look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and think about this always. Truly try to put yourself in what that end buyer is going to look for and what they're going to desire. And that's everything from not doing too much on the remodel. Don't go in there with crazy paint colors. Go in there and let them pick their own canvas. What would make you motivated to buy? I have 2 little boys and a baby girl who loves to give daddy a run for his money every day. And I know if I'm going to look at a place for my family, I'd be looking at a few things. How established is the community? Are the yards being kept up? Are people letting crabgrass and weeds take over the yard? The crime rate of this area. What is the crime rate? This is probably number 1. And that's the last thing I want to worry about, is someone trying to break into my house if I'm purchasing a home. How close to schools are the homes? Now, we looked at the quality of schools, but how close to the school is it? Is it in walking distance? How close to shopping and other retail? Well, this is not that important to me, but my better half would definitely beg to differ. I'm sure if she had it her way, she would park the store at the end of the block. No, but really, looking at retail, what else is being developed in that area is, because at the end of the day, if you understand what developments are going on, it's going to tell you about where the community is going in terms of appreciation value of that property. How accessible is the property to mass transportation? So this is important because, it's the obvious. When people need to go from point A to point B, and when you have property that can be located in an area where mass transportation, a bus line, subway, whatever is in whatever area of the country you're flipping homes is, having access to transit is important. All right, so here's a quick recap of this first module. You'll also be able to download the notes from each of these modules as well in the resources, just in case you think you missed something. Well, if you missed something, you can just rewind it also. So today we discussed knowing what you're targeting by identifying your filters and knowing your market, knowing what kind of activity is happening in the area, putting a dream team together, solid insurance partners, solid title partners, people who can really help your business by growing your network through networking. Here's a saying that the bigger your network is, the bigger your net worth. Before we wrap up Module 1, remember to download the Flip app if you haven't already. That way you can begin running financial scenarios and locating premium properties that investors, wholesalers, and simply people with distressed properties around the globe. This has been an awesome module. I want you to take some of these concepts into practice yourself and start exercising them. Join the Flip Facebook group if you haven't already, and join the Inner Circle group as well, where you can have more in-depth coaching and training with each other in our direct channel. I can't wait to get started with Module 2. Let's go ahead and get to rocking. And remember, you're just one flip away.